Hi and welcome to my channel, me and Gamma Lizard. A long time ago in a galaxy not so far away, as a child here in Germany, I saw Star Wars in the cinema when I was 5 years old. 1978 was the year I became a huge Star Wars fan. On the way home, I looked out of the window at the starry sky and dreamed of X-Wings, Jedis and epic battles. And in that time, I found in a toy box, which I was presented on Christmas, I found a brochure about Star Wars merchandise. I had this brochure for years and looked at it again and again. I was particularly taken with Han Solo's blaster, but I never had the chance to own one. And then, 2 years ago, I impulsively 3D printed the parts for the Han Solo DL-44 blaster and started painting them. But for some reason, I never finished it. Now that I'm well on my way to finally tackling old projects, I think today is a good day to return and finally complete the project. And going from this to this. So right now I have this pile of parts in front of me. Luckily, I have an assembly manual and a plan for color part by part. And after sorting and getting a plan, I'm able to start to work. And to color this thing, we need some colors. And these are black, silver, wood brown, brass or gold. Not that much, as you can see. Really straightforward, except for the wood handle, which needs a little bit of work. Now, while we have some time, a little bit about the DL-44 heavy blaster pistol. It is one of the most iconic weapons in science fiction. It is best known as the weapon carried by the smuggler Han Solo throughout the original Star Wars trilogy. In the Star Wars universe, the DL-44 is described as a powerful, heavy blaster pistol manufactured by Blastech Industries. Compared to standard blaster pistols, the DL-44 delivers significantly higher energy per shot, making it extremely powerful but also harder to handle. Because of its strength, it was often favored by smugglers, bounty hunters and mercenaries who needed a compact weapon with serious stopping power. In many stories and technical descriptions from the Star Wars universe, the DL-44 is capable of firing highly concentrated plasma bolts with remarkable accuracy. However, the weapon is also known for its strong recoil and high energy consumption. This means, although it's very powerful, it can overheat quickly and requires careful handling. But the real story of the DL-44 becomes even more interesting when we look at how it was created for movies. When Star Wars was produced in the 1970s, the prop designers at the Industrial Light and Magic and the production team needed futuristic weapons that still looked believable and functional. Instead of designing everything from scratch, they often used modified real-world objects. The DL-44 was built using a real firearm as its base, the Mauser C96, a semi-automatic pistol originally designed in Germany in the late 19th century. The Mauser C96 is instantly recognizable because of its distinctive box magazine in front of the trigger and its long barrel. To transform the Mauser into a science fiction blaster, the prop designers added several visual modifications. A scope was mounted on top of the pistol to give it a futuristic sharpshooter look. Additional gadget parts and mechanical details were attached onto the sides, and a flash suppressor was installed in the front barrel to create the iconic silhouette we now associated with the DL-44. These additions turned a historic firearm into something that looked like it came straight out of another galaxy. Over time, the DL-44 became one of the most recognizable props in movie history. Its unique shape, the long scope and the heavy industrial design made it instantly memorable. For many fans, it perfectly represents the rugged and improvisational style of the Star Wars universe. And for countless Star Wars fans, including many who first saw the movie as children like me, the DL-44 was more than just a prop. It was a symbol of adventure, imagination, and the dream of holding a piece of that galaxy far, far away. Well, I destroyed it. While trying to assemble the upper part to the lower part, it exploded. Not literally, of course, but definitely felt like it. The problem was the barrel section. The grooves that guide parts into place simply broke off during assembly. Resin prints can look amazing, but they are also brittle as hell. And when you apply just a little too much of pressure, things can go very, very wrong. So the entire assembly failed. And that meant I had to go back and reprint several parts: the receiver, both grips, the barrel, the flash hider, adapter, and a few of the smaller detailed parts as well. And this time I decided to change the material. Instead of resin, I reprinted everything using PETG. PETG is much tougher and far less brittle, which makes it a much better choice for parts that need to handle some stress during assembly. Of course, fresh prints also mean starting over in other ways. New prints need sanding, priming, painting, and then everything has to be assembled again. So after destroying those parts, I basically had to rewind the entire project and repeat several days of work. And now, after all that time, I'm finally back at the exact point where I left off. Sometimes life gives you lemons, and when that happens, it's usually a good idea not to see it as a setback, but as an opportunity to do something better. So instead of getting frustrated, I decided to take the chance and improve the build. In other words, I made lemonade out of it. Now that everything has been reprinted and painted again, it's finally time to put the blaster back together. This is always the part where a prop slowly turns from a pile of parts into something recognizable. Piece by piece, the components come together. The receiver, the barrel, the scope, and all the little mechanical details that give the DL-44 this distinctive look. The design of this prop is actually one of the reasons why it became so iconic. Even though it's supposed to be a weapon from another galaxy, it still looks mechanical and believable, almost like something that could actually exist. And that's exactly what the prop designers were going for. With props like this, the small details make a huge difference. Things like screws, seams, tiny brackets, and the alignment of the scope all contribute to the final look. If something is slightly off, your eye immediately notices it. That's why this stage takes a bit of patience. Small adjustments, a bit of glue here and there, and making sure everything sits exactly where it should. Once everything is aligned, the blaster finally starts to look like a prop we know from the films. After assembly, there are always a few final paint details that bring everything together. Even small touch-ups can make a big difference. Some edges need a bit more shading, other areas benefit from subtle highlights. The goal is not to make the prop look new and perfect. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Most of the equipment in the Star Wars universe looks like it has been years of use. Ships are scratched, armor is worn, and weapons carry the marks of countless adventures. That worn look is what gives everything its character. It's perfection through imperfection. Now, this is where the real magic happens: weathering. Instead of painting the blaster to look factory new, I'm adding small metallic highlights to the edges and mechanical parts. The trigger, the hammer, the corners of the receiver. These are all places where the finish would naturally wear down over time. In reality, the black finish would slowly rub off in these areas, exposing the metal underneath. So, by carefully adding metal paint to those spots, we can simulate years of handling and use. The trick is to keep it subtle. Too much weathering and it looks artificial, but just the right amount gives the prop believable, a lived-in look. And suddenly it feels less like a freshly printed object and more like a piece of equipment that has traveled across the galaxy. And with that, the build is finally complete. From a collection of printed parts to fully assembled and weathered DL-44 blaster. It's always satisfying to see a project like this come together, especially when you remember that it all started with a childhood memory of a movie seen decades ago. Sometimes those small inspirations stay with you for a very long time. And believe me, I have a lot of them. And every once in a while you finally get the chance to bring them to life. If you enjoyed this build, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I'm always working on new maker projects, 3D prints, props and workshop ideas. So if that sounds interesting to you, make sure you don't miss the next one. And if you have any ideas for future builds, feel free to leave them in the comments below. And all I can say is thanks for watching, and I see you in the next project, and have a nice and wonderful day.